ready? You got it. Here we go.
People all over the world join hands. It's called a love train, yeah. People all over the world join hands. It's called a love train, The next stop we make will be in England. Tell all the folks in Russia, China too. Don't you know that it's time to get on board and let this train keep on riding on through, yeah. People all over the world join hands. It's called a love train, yeah. People all over the world join hands. It's called a love train, All of you brothers over in Africa, tell all the folks in Egypt and Israel too. Please don't miss this train at the station, 'cause if you miss it, I feel sorry for you, yeah. People all over the world join hands. It's called a love train, yeah. People all over the world join hands. It's called a love train, yeah. Go ahead, take this time to spread a little love. Say hello, say good morning. Get a hug, get a high five, a handshake. Hey, people all over the world, join hands. It's called a love train, yeah. People all over the world, join hands. It's called a love train, yeah. People all over the world, join hands. It's called a love train, Thank you. Feel free to stand, join us in our opening song, Spirit is in this place. We have come together as family, yeah, we have come here as we are, and we have come with arms wide open. We have gathered here in love. Spirit is in this place. Place. Raise a roof with shouts of praise. Spirit is in this place. And we sing in celebration. Yeah, we sing with words of prayer. Namaste, amen. And we affirm our life as sacred. Yeah, we declare that peace is here, right now. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Spirit is in this, Spirit is in this place. Raise a roof, shout of praise. Spirit is in this place. Come as you are.
Good morning. I'm Gina Overholtz, and it is my honor to serve as a practitioner here at the Pacific Coast Center for Spiritual Living. I'd like to invite Rachel to come up and light our candle. This light represents the light that we are as a community. Just as a lit candle is not diminished in any way by giving its light to another, so we are here to freely share our light with all we meet. As we gather in spiritual community, let us pause to just be here now. In this present moment, in this beautiful space, knowing that each one of us is a unique expression of the divine, we are in a place of knowingness, of communion, in a center that nurtures and supports our growth and development. We give thanks for this community, which values and demonstrates extraordinary respect, compassion, safety, and accountability. For this and more, I say thank you, and so it is.
Good morning, everybody. I am so happy to be here. I've been away for a little bit, and not just out there, but just away from the center, and it just fills my heart, overflowing and brimming to see all of you here. And so, my name is Ray Bradford, if we haven't met, and if we have met, that's who I am. I'll give you more hugs, too. For those of you who are here in person, welcome. And for those of you watching us online through the streaming services, you are welcome here too. And not just watching us live, you can watch our services anytime you want on our YouTube channel. And so welcome again. One note, if you have a phone, we would invite you to please silence it, or if you're expecting a call, put it on vibrate, but just as a courtesy to each other and to the spirit inside of us that wants to be present to hear the messages, I invite you to do that. So thank you. A special welcome if you are new to us here, either in person or online. Welcome. We are different. We are truly different because you are here. One of my favorite Ernest Holmes quotes is, prepare your mind. Oh, what? It's so favorite that I mix it up. Prepare your mind to receive the very best that life has to offer. And so if you're new here to Pacific Coast, you may be asking yourself, well, what is it that makes us different? Well, here it is. We are a radically different community. We believe that love is the nature of all that there is. That love is not something outside of ourselves, something to be striven for or to strive for or to reach for through whatever means. Love is already inside of us. And that journey, whether it's one of 12-step recovery or just the journey of life, makes such a difference when you know that what you are reaching for is already existing inside of here. I mean, when you say love is who I am, that just shifts your energy into a marvelous way. And so it is an amazing thing. We are glad that you are here. And if you're wondering how we do this, well, you're in the right place, because over the next 45 minutes, there are many different spiritual guides here that will share with you thoughts and messages through prayer, through music, and through words. So let me introduce some of the guides that are with you here today. First and foremost is our senior minister, Reverend Bobbi Becker, who will deliver today's message. Our wonderful music team, led by Melissa Lewis. On percussion, Jim Asbell. And the saxophone stylings of Des Glover. Now, please hold your applause until I get to the end, because there's a bunch of people that I want to recognize. Production staff are the people who take care of how we sound, the space, and also how we get transmitted on social media. John Broderick, Matt Profit, also Carol Ann Perini, and Dale Mall. You've already met some of our practitioners. You met Gina Overholt. Holding us in consciousness during service in the back is Rachel Rosen. Also, our pre-service meditation was led by Sylvia Hungerford. These are all licensed practitioners with Science of Mind. Representing our leadership team this morning is the chairperson of our Board of Trustees, Debbie Ann Vokes, and you'll meet her a little later. You also met our awesome and dynamic welcome team. You can't walk by them without a hug, especially from that one in the back, Terry Anderson. They will park your cars, they will hug you, they will do everything as you walk into the space to prepare you to receive the very best that we have to offer you. We have our youth and family team, Wenda Arcala, and our production coordinator that pulls it all together, Carol Ann Perini, who is just awesome. And finally, last but not least, you'll notice if you've been here before that when the lights come back up at the end of service, there are some wonderful tasty treats over here made possible by Florian Limpus and her wonderful team over there. And finally, please know that being of service is a wonderful gift that you give not only to your community and to others, but a gift that you give to yourself too. So if you feel called to just gently step into service, talk to any of our welcome team members or to Florian or anybody, and we'll find a place for you that feels comfortable for you. But it truly is a gift you give yourself. So right now, please welcome Debbie Ann Vokes to share some of the announcements that we have for you today.
Thank you, Ray. Good morning. My name is Debbie Ann, and I am one of the leadership team here. The first thing we're going to do is read our mission vision statement together. So please read with me. Through mindful and respectful exploration, we are creating a healthier foundation that supports and engages a whole beloved community equipped to launch new strategies for a thriving spiritual center. Awesome. All right, we're moving on to a couple of announcements. This is coming up, the Circle, Mind, Voice, Spirit Journey. It's a sound bath and energy activation with Denise Estrada. She's back with us again. She has created a beautiful gathering called Body, Voice, and Spirit Journey. So you're going to enjoy gentle stretching, chakra activating, vocal toning, silent meditation, and a deep inner journey sound bath. So you can integrate with us and fellowship after with tea. So anything, they had me at tea. They had me at tea. Seriously, anything to do with tea, I'm there. You'll find the registration link in the newsletter and on the website. So this is next Saturday, the 13th, 2 to 3:30 p.m. right here at the center. And come and experience this beautiful spiritual offering. All right, I get to do some thank yous, and these thank yous are on behalf of the leadership board here. And I want to send a big thank you to Terry Anderson and Janine Cochran. They spent all day here yesterday weeding, so you will find no weeds. So I dare you to go out in the flower beds and find one. They were here all day. They continue to organize our gardens and our entire property. And that's another way to serve. It's a beautiful way to serve. And I also want to thank everybody that participated in our lovely membership affirmation service last week. It was really special. It was a nice ritual to have as we continue to move forward, embracing our beloved community. I'm going to invite Reverend Bobbi up for a couple of special announcements.
So a couple things happened. First of all, I want to thank all of you who texted me yesterday and today telling me you wouldn't be at today's workshop because you wanted to watch the final basketball game. So with that, which I have been talking about the women's finals, so I should get what I asked for, right? So we're all going home and watching the final basketball game. So for those of you that were coming today, we have moved today's workshop to April 24th on radical responsibility and learning through curiosity. 21st? Whatever it says up there, don't listen to me. So go home and be curious and responsible and watch the women's final today. And on the 21st, come back for radical responsibility and curiosity. May 5th, Rev. Juanita Gardner and Lori Winterroud will be talking about all those feelings that we love to feel and how it's important to feel them to heal. If you can't feel, you can't heal. That's what I say. And then June 2nd is Gossip, Valerie Day, and Max Rush. Max says to me he does not gossip outside of his voice. I love that. Hold it. Don't do it what was it in Still Magnolia? If you have something unpleasant to say, come sit next to me. Don't do that. Be Max. And the last one, we're going to do 2 on the 2nd, which is Integrity, which is Wenda Arcala and Diane Ronner. Diane, are you in the room somewhere? Stand up, Diane, because she's one of the leaders of the leadership team, so all your leaders are going to be teaching you. And this is going to be quite exciting. Come see your favorite teacher. The next thing is, so I've been talking for 2 months about the Enneagram. How many of you know the Enneagram? How many of you know your number? Shout it out. 7. Oh, sorry. Just kidding. So I'm a 1 on the Enneagram, and every Enneagram teacher says, God bless those 1s. It's a really tough number if you're not somewhere in the place of where that inner critic wants to take you down. I love my number. I love my number. And the Enneagram is a really great way to understand your personality type. It was created in the 4th century. That's how old this thing is, by the Desert Mothers and Fathers. And it allows not only an opportunity for you to understand your number and maybe what your personality type is, how do I transform it above being a little bit dysfunctional? right? And in our culture, a little judgmental. Could you play that video from the teachers that are coming on the 27th of April?
Hello. My name is Melissa Felipe.
And my name is Z. Egloff, and we're here to tell you a little bit about our workshop, the Enneagram Experience.
Yep. The Enneagram can show you aspects of yourself that may have been hidden to you in the past.
Yes, absolutely. It can also increase self-compassion and compassion for others.
Right, and because of that, then you get along better with other people.
And it's a wonderful tool for spiritual growth because it can point you to spiritual practices that will liberate you from your personality as opposed to perpetuating those blind spots.
Yes, it's made a huge difference in my life.
We've developed a unique way to teach the Enneagram using animal archetypes.
Yep. I'm a monkey.
And I'm an owl, but more on that later.
We also use guided meditation and role play that allow you to both embody and get an experience of interacting with every type.
Whether you're new to the Enneagram or you're a seasoned student, this workshop is for you.
Yep. See you there.
Doesn't that sound interesting? So I'm going to be there, and you can find out all about your senior minister and how, oh my gosh, what is she doing? And you get to find out a little bit about yourself and how we can be with one another. Now, we all have the numbers within us. When I'm a really happy one, I go to 7. When I'm a miserable one, I go to 4. If you want to know what that is, you get to show up and figure that out. And for you 7s, you get to know when you're in stress, what happens too. I say that for my wife, Janine, because that's what we get to do. Don't miss it. Make sure you're there. And I think, Janice, are you taking payments today? Yes, so Janice will be at the back. So thanks, everyone.
Thank you. I invite you to take a deep breath and allow this song to help center and ground you. Right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart. Right now, right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart. And how my mind can turn and twist and spin, just begging for some peace. That's how I know it's time to go within, be still and just breathe. Right here, right now, with every breath I take, I'm letting go, gonna let it fade away. Right here, right now, I'm getting out of my head and dropping into my heart. And with each breath, well, I'll go deeper in this space and ground myself from the peace within this place. I can feel the love, it's flowing all around me. Right here, right now, yeah, I can feel the love, it's flowing all around me. Right here, right now.
Your gentleness is showing is the theme of Reverend Bobbi's talk today, with the subhead, which I really love, forgetting who you are as part of the journey. Therefore, let gentleness be your most trusted travel companion. My supervisor where I work has reminded me several times this week to just trust the process. This is, to me, a call to be gentle, to be open at the top, to step back and not get so worked up. I don't know what number that would come under, but to try not to predict the future, to be gentle with myself and everyone around me. I'm a person who wears her heart on her sleeve. The aforementioned supervisor reminded me that my face broadcasts what I'm thinking and feeling, which may not serve me well when I do my job. You need to work on your face, she said, semi-gently, after a recent Veterans Commission meeting. That's my job, by the way. I'm the coordinator for the city's Veterans Commission and Office of Veteran Support. Oh my goodness. How can I broadcast neutrality instead of shock and awe? Is there such a thing as a neutral face? I'm a person for whom gentleness does not come easily. I'm a little rough around the edges, one would say. I push and shove just a little. I'm a combination of impatience and Captain Obvious. Why can't you see that what I'm telling you to do and moving in the direction I think is best is going to work? I don't always remember that my mom told me many times, you catch more flies with honey than you do with vinegar. My strong feelings, my reactions, my unique and well-honed practice of taking things a little personally sometimes get in the way. I forget who I am, but I'm learning to catch myself and to remember that the best moments are when we connect beyond the pushing and shoving and hurt feelings and misinterpretations, when we pause to find the soft center and discover the gentleness. And soft centers is, in fact, the name of an assorted box of candy from C's. So I'm going to just tell you all to visualize, even if you don't love chocolate, but just as a visual reminder, when you lose your way with gentleness, is to remember the soft centers. Back to the trusting process, or trusting the process. This past week was Public Health Week, and our department at the city, the health department, held a day-long conference that brought together a few hundred of us for plenary sessions, panels, and the like. Much care and thoughtfulness went into planning and delivering this event. I was reluctant to attend. It was spring break for our teen, and I wanted to take a day or two to do something fun with the family, but I'm so glad that I went. I connected with the people I needed to connect with, including the aforementioned supervisor, who took me by surprise with her own gentleness, guidance, and encouragement when we sat and spoke with each other. I experienced what I needed to experience. I expressed myself in the way I needed to express myself. I learned what I needed to learn. It was magical. I even participated in the Zumba break. A magical young woman blasted cumbia music, and I put my arthritic knees and groovy hips to the test and won a prize for having the most responses to a test your imagination type of creative exercise in a breakout session. So the conference was really an exercise in gentleness, and I felt grateful, humble, expanded and open. The fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. Against these things there is no law, and that's from Galatians in the New Testament. Gentleness, patience, kindness, compassion, these are not signs of weakness. Rather, they are demonstrations of strength. So let us remember our gentleness. I recognize that God is all there is. There's no spot where God is not. God is peace, God is compassion, God is gentleness. I am one with God. There is no separation. Spirit and I are one. As God is peace, compassion, and gentleness, I am peace, compassion, and gentleness. As this is the truth of who I am, so it must also be the truth of our spiritual community, of each individual dwelling on this planet. I speak my word now with authority. I declare the truth that's manifesting now, that humanity is peace, compassion, and gentleness. And humanity knows this with every fiber of its being, embedded within its consciousness. I give thanks for knowing this truth, that humanity is peace, compassion, and gentleness. I release these words now into the action of the law, knowing that it is good and very good, and so it is.
You know there's a light that glows by the front door. Don't forget the keys under the mat. When childhood stars shine, always stay humble and kind. Go to church 'cause your mama says to. Visit Grandpa every chance you can. It won't be wasted time. Always stay humble and kind. Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but stay humble and kind. And when the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. Don't expect a free ride from no one. Don't hold a grudge or a chip, and here's why. Bitterness keeps you from flying. Stay humble and kind. Know the difference between sleeping with someone and sleeping with someone you love. I love you ain't no pickup line, so stay humble and kind. Hold the door, say please, say thank you. Don't steal, don't cheat, and don't lie. I know you got mountains to climb, but stay humble and kind. And when the dreams you're dreaming come to you, when the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride, but always stay humble and kind. When it's hot, eat a root beer popsicle. Shut off the AC, roll the windows down. Let that summer sun shine. Always stay humble and kind. Don't take for granted this love this life gives you. And when you get there, don't forget to turn back around. Help the next one in line. Always stay humble and kind. Yeah, help the next one in line. Always stay humble and kind.
Good morning. Amazing music team, right? So Jesus, the master teacher, taught in parable. And he taught in parables so he could take things that were happening relative to his time. And the biggest lesson of his teaching was love and gentleness. And he never forced what he taught, which was love and gentleness, on anyone. He taught the story and he let it go, and people took from it what they needed. In the New Testament, there's a story about the Good Samaritan. And for those of you that may not know this story, you may be Jewish or you may not have grown up reading the New Testament. And in the story of the Good Samaritan, it's about one of the most despised of religious orders that ends up saving the life of someone on the side of the road that the higher order of priests walked around and rejected. Now, the interesting thing is, right after that story of the Good Samaritan, there happens to be another story that I've often overlooked. And I didn't overlook it this time because I actually went to the Good Samaritan. But the reason I'm going to tell you this story is because I found myself in this story. And it's after the Good Samaritan, Jesus telling this story, they traveled on and they're on their way to Jerusalem, and they came to a village before Jerusalem where there was a woman named Martha who welcomed him into their home. And her sister Mary was sitting at the feet of Jesus, listening to what he taught. And Martha was distracted by cooking, and there was this big dinner she was preparing because in the Jewish culture, hospitality is actually the most important virtue. And there are other virtues within hospitality, like gentleness, that I'll speak to. So Martha's preparing the meal. She's looking at her sister Mary, and she's getting kind of ticked off a little bit, right? And she says to Jesus, "It seems unfair that my sister just sits there while I work. Tell her to offer up some help or come in here and help me." That is so me. And so Jesus said, "My dear Martha, you are worried and upset about over all these details, there's only one thing worth being concerned about, and Mary has discovered it. Now, in the Jewish culture, or any culture at the time, women preparing food and being the one that was sort of in the service to the entire crowd was pretty typical. What was really unusual is for a man, a Jewish man, to welcome a woman to sit and listen to what is being taught. It is not, or was it, part of Jewish culture, or any culture of that time. And if we read that story just at the face value, which is Martha getting upset, as an Enneagram 1, I'm all in. Seriously, get up here and help me, would you? And it reminds me of when something's happening, there's an experience happening, right? There's something that is moving in the room. And it isn't about get her done. And what's beautiful is Jesus very gently reminding, or maybe just teaching Martha. Maybe it's not a reminder, maybe it's, hey Martha, there's something happening here. And your sister has gotten it. And it was left open, why haven't you? He didn't say, why haven't you gotten it? He just said that there's only one thing worth being concerned about, and Mary has discovered it. That's it. And I think that just brings up my experience of the week. I wrote my talk on the plane. I was in Kansas City this week with my father, and it was just a beautiful week of sitting down with him and visiting with him. And he and I we've had a rough journey. We've really had a rough journey. And a lot of it had to do with my mother's mental health. And what was really beautiful this week is just an opportunity to see that side of my father, who's very gentle and very loving. And I loved the fact that I kept reminding myself, and this is important, that I was reminding myself to observe him and his wife. And what I noticed is how much they care for one another, and how present they are for one another, and how much they serve one another. I didn't get to see that so often with my own parents. I was younger. There was a lot happening, but what was beautiful was to see that gentleness that was being expressed, and it led me to, I would say, an almost instantaneous forgiveness of a lot of the past. And to step into fully the relationship that he and I can have now. And the thing is that when we aren't gentle with ourselves and others, it doesn't really allow us to be open at the top. Gentleness is the foundation of ethics. And if you'd put the slides up for me now, thank you. Thanks for not showing everything I shouldn't show. So gentleness, I guess the question is how do we recognize gentleness? How is it seen, observed, felt? That's kind of I'm just going to throw that out here for a moment, so I want you to consider that, because the next question to that is, who senses the gentleness when it's happening? Is it the subject? Is it the object? Is it the observer? Is it everyone? My guess it's one and all, some and or none even sometimes, right? That when someone is expressing gentleness, it really depends on where I'm at for my ability to actually see and feel it. Because gentleness isn't just something that is experienced by the receiver or experienced by the giver. It can be experienced by everyone there. And how often I look at this picture of this little boy and his dog, and I must tell, for those of you that have an animal, our animal brings out gentleness immediately. I can turn and say something sharp to my spouse and turn to the dog and I'm like, oh. Janine's gone, mm-hmm. Right? Is that not the truest thing? That animals can bring out that gentleness. I struggle with watching anything where an animal is hurt. I can see people hurt all over the place and be just fine. I can watch action-adventure, people are shot, people are killed, but don't hurt the dog. Right, and I wonder about that from a sense of what is it that animals are trying to teach us in the world that we are so ignoring so often. Gandhi, who was probably one of the most famous of practicers after Jesus, he practiced the principle of nonviolence, and his teachers that he listed out were not folks that I would have expected. Tolstoy, Ruskin, for sure Thoreau. Those were his three big teachers. And Tolstoy taught him that it is, as a Christian, for Tolstoy, it was more important to bear violence than oppose it. So the turning of the other cheek means the receipt, at times being receiving of that violence, but not to return it in the same way. He said that in turn, when we do that, we will be free and free the world from all external power. Ruskin, his idea of gentleness and nonviolence was that there's dignity in manual labor. So I think about Terry and Janine out there just beautifully cleaning out this community center so that we can walk in and not even notice, but see and feel the beauty and the labor. There's energy, there's something in that labor when folks give, just without expectation. They did not know we would thank them. We did not ask them to go out and do this. They just showed up yesterday and dragged our poor little Nala all over and weeded and cleaned up. And that dignity of that manual labor. Also, what Ruskin said was, there's complications in our modern economic system, so we each must find our way to serve those that have less. And Thoreau talked about civil disobedience through passive resistance. He had his beautiful essay on civil disobedience, which really explored the idea of how can I be passive in my civil disobedience to not cause violence, but to prove a point by being more passive in it. And he often, during his time, was arrested for protesting enslaved people on this land, and refused to pay taxes to a system that believed it was okay to enslave folks. And that was what Thoreau did. There are faith traditions all around us. I'll just talk to a few. The Talmud, which is gentleness is the greatest of practices. For those of you that are not as familiar with that, that also means that, so what the Jewish tradition taught was the stranger that dwells with you shall be to you as the homeborn among you, and you shall love them as yourself. So think about when we go back to even the story of Sodom and Gomorrah, which is really about hospitality, is that a city was destroyed in its story because it was not kind to people that came in from the outside. The Quran, our Muslim family members, gentle means to show kindness, compassion, and understanding to others. It is one of the highest virtues in the Quran. Christianity, which is our attitude, and this is written by an old Christian teacher, our attitude is therefore not of us and them, but we. And we forever here to learn together, not only to teach. We listen gently, we speak gently. Our communication is characterized by our gentleness. One of the things that one of my favorite Buddhist teachers, Pema Chodron, says is there's nothing more important on our spiritual path than developing gentleness to oneself. Why would she say that? And why would she say that, especially in this particular case? This is spoken to the Western culture. It's not spoken to the Eastern culture, by the way, which I find so interesting because the Dalai Lama met with a bunch of Western Buddhist teachers, and these Western teachers trained in the West would often tell him how their students often express such self-denigration. But even the teachers that were taught from the Western world had big negative views about themselves. And the Dalai Lama could not compute these words. They did not make sense, this self-loathing. It was foreign to the culture that he came from in the East. And he was saying that having that poor or bad self-image was so alien that he wasn't able to at first even speak to it. And it didn't make sense. He said, how can anyone be so hard on themselves? And in our culture, think about this. We don't say someone is expressing jealousy. We don't say someone is experiencing jealousy. We say that a person is jealous. We say that someone, based on something they've done, is they are not a good person, or that they are a hateful person. We actually take the adjective and attach it to the person, including ourselves. We are unique in our language for doing so because most languages do not attribute the behavior with the person themselves. Have you noticed? So by the very nature of how we speak of these topics, we are in turn affirming the negativity of a person, including myself. So if I say something like, I am just incompetent, I am saying something about my entirety and how often what we feel about ourselves is expressed in a way that it is about the whole person. And there's not a lot of room in that for us to be open and gentle with ourselves if we are constantly speaking this way to ourselves. And the Dalai Lama said, as we grow up, secondary causes arise that obscure our loving, open nature. Our basic goodness isn't gone. It's the clouds that move in on a clear day and block the sun. We just work to uncover what is blocking our view. We are basically good. We are basically good. At the core of us, we are good. And yet, so often in this culture, in fact, that's why this teaching, this philosophy we call science of mind, is trying to teach us to be open at the top, to be gentle. Honestly, the core meaning of gentle is flexible. That's what its true meaning is to be flexible. Because if I'm flexible, then I'm not grabbing onto anything and characterizing anything, including myself, and my ability to be flexible. So I'm flying yesterday. I was pretty excited about the flight because I knew I was going to get to work. And I thought I upgraded when I got to the airport. And when my seat got changed at the point in which I was boarding, so I scanned my pass and I walked away, and I was pretty excited because I had the best seat, I thought. And as I was walking away, the desk attendant says, Ms. Becker, you forgot your seat assignment. And I went, no, got it right here on my phone. And she says, oh no, we've changed you. What? I was on an aisle. I was in extra comfort. I tried to get first class, didn't work, but at least I got extra comfort. And I'm thinking, I'm going to have the best flight back. And so I walked back, and she hands me, and I know what seats are on a flight just by looking at that letter, right? I am in the center. And, I've got my computer I have to get out and a few things. And I sit down between, I don't know who I'm going to sit down between, but it's a mother and a son. He's 16. She's in her own world. He's in hers or his. And here's my first, I'm perturbed. I am perturbed. And I look over at the guy sitting in my seat. And I said, now I'm mindful now because someone wants to ask me what I do for a living. I'm very careful what I say. Because it's going to come up. I said, oh, I see you have C. I said, did you move? He goes, yeah, I did. And I went, did they move you just now? And he goes, yeah, my mother needs help, and so I got moved to sit next to her. And I went, crap. And then the entire 5.5-hour flight from Atlanta was the mother and son moving in like it was their bedroom. And I was thinking, today Melissa's going to play Humble and Kind in the music team, and I'm going to keep my mouth shut. And I texted Janine and I said, you are not going to believe where I'm sitting. I said, this is good for my talk, I'm sure. Then the heat came on in the plane, and I'm sitting here going, I'm not sure this could get worse. And then it kind of would. And I think, you know what, this isn't funny. This isn't funny to do this before my talk about being gentle. But something clicked in me that I thought was really interesting is I began to be gentle with myself for what I was experiencing. Instead of complaining about what was happening, I started to move into, let's be gentle with you because this is not what you want. You didn't expect it. That's okay, right? It's okay that you got thrown into the middle of somebody's bedroom on the way home. And I was really kind. This woman's sweater kept getting pushed into my chair, and could I just move this over? And the son's backpack ended up on my side, and can I move this over? And I thought it was more important for me to practice that, being gentle with them and being gentle with me. When I got home, of course, I let Janine know all the crap about it. So as I was sitting here experiencing this Elizabeth Kubler-Ross quote came up for me, which is, believe me, I was not suffering. I was just uncomfortable. The most beautiful people we have known defeat. The most beautiful people we have known, let's just say have known suffering, have known struggle, have known loss, and have found their way out of the depths. These persons have an appreciation, a sensitivity, and an understanding of life that fills them with compassion, gentleness, and a deep, loving concern. Beautiful people do not just happen. Is there anyone in this room that has not had something happen that was so disturbing? Anyone in the room not have something happen that was absolutely sad, devastating, sometimes ugly? Yeah. So guess what? All of you have beautiful lives. Have beauty within you because it is part of the journey. Is to have these things and we get to experience and catch ourselves at a point in which it just feels like more than we can handle. A loss of a loved one, sickness of a loved one. The devastating tragedy of folks that have had their family taken away through murder or accident or whatever it might be. Whatever it is in our lives, a loss of a job that we loved, a loss of a relationship, whatever it is, all of those things happen. And it's not that we try to keep things from happening or that we're magically just in joy when it all happens. It's that can we be in those moments, find it, not maybe at the beginning, right? Let's give ourselves some grace, be gentle. But at some point, can I be gentle to myself and those around me that are experiencing that so that we can heal together? Not that I'm part of the hurting of another. So I just want you to close your eyes for just a moment, if you would. And I want you to identify something about you that you believe is basically good. And if you don't know, can you just feel that you're basically good? And if it just doesn't feel like something you can grab, if you feel like something's wrong, allow yourself to feel that piece that feels wrong. And see if you can get in touch with the feeling, if it's a deficiency or something. You may have to go back to an incident in your life that comes quickly to your memory where you have not felt right. And whatever that feeling, for those of you that are over here on this feeling of, just don't feel right, what's the internal dialogue? What's that internal dialogue that's showing up? The storyline of you, which is underneath the story. What's under the story? Which may be a judgment of self, a feeling of fear or anger or frustration or whatever it may be. And if you can get that, I want you to pause, take a breath. I would like you to bring gentleness and kindness to your story. See if you can bring that gentleness and kindness. So, in that experience, you can open your eyes now. It's hard to bring gentleness to ourselves and the parts of us we don't like, that we feel is deficient. But what happened right there, if you go home later and it comes up, is to pause and allow yourself to feel something uncomfortable where you feel unworthy or deficient or angry or whatever it is. Pause. And you get to go under it and feel what's really there, what's really happening. Because bringing gentleness to myself is really tough. But what I can tell you is if I can't bring it to me, I cannot bring it to the world. Because I will not recognize it. Imagine when we're driving down anytime I'm on the freeway and somebody is doing something crazy to get somewhere fast, I just imagine that person is on their way to their family because something's happened. I just bring as much compassion and gentleness to that experience that I can. Because here's the thing, and sometimes it's even if I can get to acceptance of something, which isn't really about that I'm all open to you. What it means is that in my discomfort, I am understanding that I'm having to be at a place of acceptance, that I'm uncomfortable and I will go there. That's the true part of acceptance. And accepting is to allow myself to associate myself with the discomfort, whether it's with anyone or anything. Being okay with it and of giving gentleness to it, knowing that we all come in different packages, different experiences, different ways of being. To change our judgment of self and others, it starts with getting in touch of feeling something being wrong with me, and then making the intention to loosening up that feeling with gentleness. So now I'm going to ask you a question, and I'm going to ask that you respond. What would or does it look like for me to be gentle with myself? What would it look like, feel like, to bring gentleness to myself? Peace? Acceptance? Forgiveness? Patience? Joy? What's that? Happiness? And then, what would it look like to bring gentleness to others? Grace? Joy, compassion, connection, respect, joy, release. See how easy it was to do it for others? But are we really giving that if we're not giving it to ourselves? That's the question. So I'm going to ask you to think about this week. When you can bring it to another and you catch yourself for whatever they're doing, I'm going to go back to Rev Juanita's, you spot it, you got it. I know. When you see that, bring it back to yourself and know that I've been there too. I've done that too. And can I look at some of these challenges in my life from a reframe of how am I seeing them? How am I seeing them from that lens of how I'm in it? What would a reframe look like? And that's what you're going to get to learn on April 27th. So let's pray. So just in this acceptance of myself in this moment, knowing that I am part of the one, and that each person in this room is part of the one, for there is only one, that we are all connected That what I see at the end, the exterior point of my body is just energy and waves. And there's really no container for this. I am not separate. I am connected to all and to everyone. And what I step into and affirm this week is to bring that gentleness in how I watch the news, to bring the gentleness into how I see someone doing something that I don't care for. Can I bring gentleness to it? Can I bring gentleness for you're not doing it the way you should do it? Can I bring that gentleness to the freeway? Can we as a community bring that gentleness to everything we do, not perfectly, but as a practice, so that we can expand that gentleness and that effect on our planet, so that we may create a world that works for all. So I just accept this right here and now for all, and so it is.
Sorry, I'm not ready. Jim's ready and I'm not.
If you see your brother standing by the road with a heavy load from the seas he sowed, and if you see your sister falling by the way, just stop and say, you're going the wrong way. You've got to try a little kindness, yes, show a little kindness, shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, overlook all the blindness from the narrow-minded people in the narrow-minded street. Don't walk around and down and out. Lend a helping hand instead of doubt. And the kindness that you show every day will help someone along the way. You've got to try a little kindness, yes, show a little kindness, shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, you'll overlook all the blindness from the narrow-minded people in the narrow-minded street. Yeah, you've got to try a little kindness, show a little kindness, shine your light for everyone to see. And if you try a little kindness, you'll overlook all the blindness from the narrow-minded people in the narrow-minded streets. From the narrow-minded people in the narrow-minded streets.
Okay, bye. I was just booking you the middle seat on your next flight. So, practicing gentleness. I just really want to thank Reverend Bobby. I mean, one of the things that I firmly believe in is that we're exactly where we need to be to hear what we need to hear when we need to hear it. And I know that for me, the conversation about gentleness is really important. This month marks 23 years since I stepped into the rooms of 12-step and recovery, and I'm alive because of that. And if there was one lesson above all, especially that very, very challenging first year when everything just starts shaking up, was when somebody shared to me to be gentle with myself, that without gentleness, I would be unable to take that journey. And 23 years later, I'm here, still in the classroom of life. But I really want to thank you, Reverend Bobby, because I know that not only I got something out of it, but I know in each of our individual ways here in this room and on YouTube that we thank you too for sharing that lesson. And so right now I'd like to invite our ushers. I'd invite them, but they're already up here. Let me introduce them to you. They are Maria, Cheryl, Nikki, and Diane. And by the way, again, another reminder, if you'd like to step into service, being an usher is a wonderful, gentle way of doing it too. So please see one of the members of the welcome team. So this is our time to share and to give from our heart. Giving, tithing, and sharing not only keeps us connected with each other, keeps us connected to our community, but the act of giving keeps us connecting to ourselves and our inner spirit. So if you enjoyed the programming, the music, the message, the people, this wonderful Sunday, find a place in your heart and ask yourself how you'd like to contribute your time, talent, or your treasure to this awesome community of Pacific Coast Center for Spiritual Living, because it all starts with you. So, before I invite you to speak this affirmation on the TV, I invite you all to just take a nice deep breath together. Fill your lungs, and what you are filling is that energy of life, that sparkle of radiant, dynamic energy. So use and tap that energy within yourself as we all collectively read this affirmation. We rise together as love for ourselves and our community. We rise as acts of service, generosity, and the expression of our unique talents. As a committed whole, we give this gift today. So, as the ushers continue in the room, let me remind all of you here in this room, but also especially those who are watching on our YouTube channel, that you can, there are many ways to give every single day of the year by going to our website or our Facebook page. You can give through Venmo and PayPal. You just text an amount on the number that you see on the screen, or through the donate button that you'll find in our weekly newsletter or on our website. At this point, I'd like to invite our practitioners up here to stand so they can identify themselves to you. Practitioners in religious science are people who have been through many, many courses and have learned the principles of religious science and are able to sit and pray with you. Prayer is nothing but an affirmative statement of where you would like to be, what you are trying to attain, and if after service you would like to talk with them, any one of them, about yourself or somebody in your life, the prayer corner is right there next to our wonderful Des Vanna White there. And so I would like to invite our practitioner, Rachel, to come and take the candle out. And as she does so, this is indicative and most certainly affirms that as the candle here in today's service is taken out into the room, let us, each of us, carry the candle of hope, faith, dignity, life, respect, and most important, of love out into the world, into our lives, into our relationships, and into the greater world, which right now could certainly use the energy that we provide. And so at this point, let me invite once again our most awesome Reverend Bobbi Becker back up here.
Thank you, awesome host, Ray Bradford. Isn't he amazing? And again, the share that Gina earlier, funny, heartfelt. I learned it. I didn't even have to get up. That's how amazing she is. So thank you for that, Gina. So it's the first Sunday of the month, and I know that there's a bunch of birthdays that just happened. Anyone sharing a birthday in April? Anyone have a birthday in April? Yeah. And we know that our practitioner over here had a birthday this last week, and her beloved spouse had a birthday this last week. You guys don't do anything you don't do together, right? So it's just same day even, same day.
Oh, wow.
But for those of you who have a birthday this month,
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you.
so let's stand and let's close this beautiful service up before it gets any more amazing. We just can't stand anymore. I don't know what to do. So I'm going to ask you a question. For those of you who are new, just go along with us. So something amazing's happening. Is there? Well, tell me about it. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. What is it? For those of you new, are you getting the kind of pattern we're going through, right? Where is life?
Life is in my mind.
And?
Life is in my body.
And?
Life is all that I am.
One more and.
Life is all that we are.
And what am I going to do with it?
I accept it.
And?
I am it.
And?
I share it with all.
How?
Just the way it appears.
And?
Just the way it appears not.
And there we are. So with deep gratitude for everyone that showed up today to serve, for all those that make this space so beautiful, from the grounds to the experiences, to the music, to our speakers, to our host. Let us just express that gratitude in the count of 3. Let's do this last line. 1, 2, 3. Thank you, life. Melissa, we have a new song. Would you tell us about it a little bit?
Yes, I am alive with the spirit of love. Follow me. That has 3 lines. We're actually going to sing it 4 times. So just follow me. You got it. You ready? I am alive with the spirit of love. 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 I am alive, y'all. Alive with the spirit of love. Very good. I knew you'd get it. Again. I am alive with the spirit of love. 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 I am alive, y'all. Alive with the spirit of love. I'm alive, y'all, again. Here we go. I am alive, y'all. Alive with the spirit of love. Have a great week, guys.